So imagine if your company's software suddenly stopped charging you based on how many employees you have.
Right, like the classic user license.
Exactly. And instead, it started charging you based on how much actual work the software did completely on its own.
Oh, wow. Yeah, it sounds a bit like science fiction, honestly.
It totally does, right? I mean, we are just so used to the idea of paying for a seat for every human in the office. But if you look closely at Salesforce's recent Q1 FY 2027 earnings report, they kind of hid this exact future right in plain sight.
Yeah, they really did.
They are making a massive bet. Like, they are betting the entire future of the company on becoming an agentic enterprise. And I want to just pause on that term, agentic enterprise, so you listening can really let that sink in.
It is a massive bet, and you're entirely right to call it a pivot in disguise, because to the untrained eye, or even to a casual investor, this recent earnings report might just look like standard financial news.
Right, just another spreadsheet.
Exactly, just a spreadsheet. But when we unpack the source material for you today on this deep dive, you'll see it's actually a highly calculated strategic repositioning.
Yeah, they are actively trying to change how the world, and specifically Wall Street analysts, perceives their very identity.
Precisely.
And so that is our mission for today's deep dive. We are taking a magnifying glass to this Salesforce Q1 FY 2027 earnings report.
Because there's a lot to unpack there.
Oh, definitely. We're going to look at their overall revenue trajectory, their subscription and support revenue base, and their Q2 and full year guidance.
But the goal here isn't just to read numbers at you.
No, not at all. The goal is to understand how Salesforce is using these very specific financial metrics to shift their identity. They want to move away from being a standalone software feature story and turn into a massive enterprise platform story.
And that's the crucial distinction we need to make today. Because, a feature is something you use to do a specific task, right?
Right.
But a platform, well, that's the foundation that you build your entire business upon.
Totally. So let's lay out the foundational facts from our sources first.
Sounds good.
Looking at the Q1 FY 2027 numbers, we see their overall revenue showing this really steady growth trajectory. And within that, their subscription and support revenue remains the massive central pillar of their financials.
Right, which for anyone studying business, that subscription revenue is the lifeblood of any software as a service company.
Exactly. And they also laid out their Q2 and full year guidance.
Which is essentially the executive team telling the market exactly how confident they are about the rest of the year.
Right, it's like a financial promise.
Yeah, it sets the baseline expectation for investors. But what is truly fascinating here, I think, is not just the upward trajectory of those overall revenue buckets, is how management is choosing to, slice those buckets up and present them to the public.
So if Wall Street is basically looking at a giant pie chart of revenue, Salesforce is entirely changing the slices.
That's a great way to put it.
And this brings us to the most revealing part of the sources we're looking at. Salesforce is intentionally shifting its reporting structure.
A huge move.
It is. They're moving away from older, traditional software categories, and they're starting to report their numbers under brand new labels.
Right.
Specifically, they're highlighting categories like Agentforce apps plus Data 360, headless platform, and a category just called Other.
And this is exactly where, financial engineering crosses over into narrative engineering.
But I have to push back a little here, or at least, ask the skeptical question.
Sure, go ahead.
Why go through all the trouble of changing the labels on the buckets? I mean, is this just a marketing trick? Like, is it like rearranging the aisles in a supermarket just so the investors are forced to walk past the flashy new AI products first? Like, putting the shiny new candy right at the checkout line.
It's a fun analogy, but it's actually much deeper and honestly much more difficult than just rearranging a supermarket aisle. Yeah, absolutely. When a publicly traded tech company changes how it reports its revenue to the government and to investors, it is a massive, painful undertaking.
Oh, because of all the accounting involved.
Exactly. It requires completely changing their internal accounting, re-auditing their books, changing how sales commissions are tracked. I mean, they do not endure that kind of pain just for a marketing stunt.
Right.
They do it to establish a platform narrative. Let's make sure we highlight that term, platform narrative.
Okay, so they're using the math to tell a story about what kind of company they are.
Precisely. And the specific financial tool they use to tell that story is a concept called disaggregated revenue.
Let's slow down and make sure you listening catch that term because it's vital. Disaggregated revenue.
Yeah. So when you disaggregate revenue, you are taking the total amount of money the company makes And you're breaking it apart into smaller, highly specific pieces.
Got it.
A reporting change like this signals exactly how management wants investors to evaluate the business moving forward.
So by carving out Agentforce apps plus Data 360 as its own distinct line item, Salesforce is telling the market, do not evaluate us just as a traditional CRM software anymore.
Exactly. They are saying value us based on our ability to sell AI agents and the data infrastructure that powers them.
Oh, wow. So by putting that specific AI revenue on the main stage of the earnings report, they're practically forcing the Wall Street analysts to ask about it,
Yep.
to track its growth every single quarter, and ultimately to value the entire company based on its success.
Spot on. And within that specific Agentforce and Data 360 category, the metric they are most eager to show off is their ARR growth.
Okay, and that stands for annual recurring revenue.
Right. Annual recurring revenue.
Which points to the broader concept of recurring business. Let's just give that a second to land. Recurring business.
Yes.
Because this is a huge concept for anyone learning about the tech industry, right? It's the difference between, say, selling someone a car once and selling them a subscription to a transportation service that they pay for every single month, year after year.
Exactly. And Wall Street loves recurring business because it's predictable.
Right. They hate surprises.
They really do.
Yeah.
And if we connect this to the bigger picture of the AI industry right now, there is a tremendous amount of skepticism.
I'm sure.
Over the last few years, we have seen so many flashy AI demos. We've seen chatbots that write beautiful poems or, generate funny images.
Yeah, but enterprise companies and Wall Street are getting very tired of demos.
Exactly. They want to see real, trackable business value. So by focusing their reporting entirely on the ARR growth of their AI products, Salesforce is proving that they have consistent recurring business from AI.
And proving that consistent AI revenue matters far more to investors right now than some one-off viral tech demo.
100%.
That makes total sense. They were saying, look, our AI isn't just a shiny toy that people try once and forget about. It's a foundational utility that our massive enterprise clients are willing to pay for on a recurring contractual basis.
Right.
But that naturally makes me wonder, if Wall Street is actually buying this new AI platform narrative, what exactly is the technology making that possible? Because to get enterprise companies to pay year after year, it can't just be a basic chatbot.
No, you're exactly right. A simple chat interface just isn't enough to justify this kind of strategic pivot.
Right.
To understand why clients are paying for it, we really have to look under the hood at the actual enterprise technology making this recurring revenue possible.
And our sources highlight two very specific, fascinating metrics from the report that explain the tech: Slack MCP adoption and agentic work units.
Let's start with MCP.
Yeah, what is that and why does it matter?
So MCP stands for Model Context Protocol,
Mm-hmm.
and its adoption within Slack is a massive indicator of where things are heading. To understand it, think about how AI currently works for most people.
Okay.
Usually AI models are totally siloed. You have one AI in your CRM system, maybe another AI in your email, and another one in your chat app.
And they don't talk to each other?
Exactly.
Right, so if I want the AI in my chat app to know about a customer's purchase history, I have to act as the middleman. I basically have to physically copy the data from the CRM and paste it into the chat box.
Yep. And that is incredibly inefficient. So Slack MCP is a technical protocol that allows different AI models to securely communicate and share context with each other without a human acting as the middleman.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. The AI in the CRM can securely pass a sort of context briefcase of customer data directly to the AI operating inside a Slack channel.
That is wild. So the AIs are essentially briefing each other in the background.
Yes, and that brings us to the broader point of how a company actually wins in enterprise AI. To win, companies need more than just a smart chatbot interface that a human types into. They need what the industry calls a headless platform.
Okay, a headless platform. That's a great term to slow down and unpack.
Let's do it.
When we say headless, we mean the AI's brain and its processing capabilities are completely separated from the visual user interface, which would be the head. It means the AI can operate invisibly in the background, plugging into various different apps and databases without ever needing a human to, open a screen and type into a chat box.
Spot on. The AI is just running as a background service. But here is the catch.
Okay, what's the catch?
Because you have these headless agents running around in the background, autonomously passing data and doing tasks, you absolutely must have a control plane.
A A control plane. Let's give that term a second.
It's vital.
Now, usually people compare a control plane to an air traffic control tower for all the AI agents in a massive company. But I want to go deeper than just the metaphor for you listening. How does it actually work, technically? Is it just a settings menu where a manager checks a few boxes?
Oh, no, it's much more rigorous than a settings menu. Think of the control plane as a hard technical barrier. It's a layer of software that sits right between the AI agent's brain and the company's secure databases.
Okay.
And what it does is provide the necessary governance.
Governance, which in this context means strictly enforcing the rules.
Exactly. Let's say a headless AI agent decides it wants to offer an angry customer a 90% discount.
Yikes.
Right. Before that action can happen, the AI must send a request through the control plane. The control plane intercepts that API call, checks the agent's permission tokens, and says, wait, you're only authorized to offer up to a 20% discount.
And it blocks the action.
Yep, it blocks it and flags a human manager. Without that hard layer of technical governance, an AI agent could accidentally, say, email highly sensitive financial data to the wrong department.
That makes total sense. So the control plane is the security checkpoint. And what about when multiple tasks need to happen in a specific order?
That is the second function of the control plane, orchestration.
Orchestration. So like a conductor leading an orchestra, making sure the violins play before the cellos come in.
Exactly. Orchestration ensures that multiple different AI agents, perhaps using that Slack MCP we talked about, can work together in the precise sequence required to complete a complex business task.
This connects so directly back to everyday life for you listening, whether you work in sales, marketing, logistics, or HR. Let's make this really concrete. Let's say you have a VIP customer whose massive shipment just got lost in transit.
A nightmare scenario.
Total nightmare. In the old world, what we call workflow automation, well, that might just be a simple rule. A system flags the lost tracking number, sends an automated alert to your screen, and you, the human, have to open 5 different tabs.
Right.
You check the CRM, you email the warehouse, you draft an apology to the client, and you request a refund from finance.
Right. Workflow automation just reminds the human to do the work.
Yeah.
But what Salesforce is building toward is workflow execution.
Workflow execution. Let's really emphasize the difference there.
It's a massive difference. Workflow execution is what an agentic enterprise actually does.
Right.
In that same lost shipment scenario, the headless platform goes to work. One AI agent detects the lost shipment. Through orchestration, it triggers another agent to pull the client's purchase history from the CRM to verify they are a VIP. Then, another agent drafts a highly customized refund proposal. It routes that proposal to a human manager for a single-click approval in Slack.
So the human is just overseeing it.
Yes, and once approved, the agent actually processes the refund in the billing system and sends the apology email.
It is entirely executing the work, not just notifying you about it. And that incredibly detailed, multi-step process we just described, that is an agentic work unit.
Exactly.
That is the other fascinating metric Salesforce is now tracking in this earnings report. They aren't just measuring how many human beings bought a license to log into the software. They are measuring the actual volume of work the AI agents are executing on behalf of the company.
Which, that represents a profound shift in the fundamental economics of the tech industry. For 40 years, the entire software industry was based on selling seats.
Right. How many human user seats did you sell to a company?
Exactly. Now, with this stealthy pivot in their earnings report, Salesforce is preparing Wall Street for a future where software is valued by the volume of autonomous tasks it successfully completes.
This is incredibly dense, but it is so rewarding when you start to see the matrix of how this all connects. So, having discussed the high-level business strategy of disaggregated revenue and the deep technical mechanisms like Slack MCP and control planes, I want us to take a moment to really consolidate this complex vocabulary for you.
I think that's a great idea, because the language of global business is changing incredibly fast right now, and having precision with these English words really matters, especially for our listeners who operate in international tech and finance.
Exactly. For you listening, whether you are prepping for a boardroom presentation or just trying to read the financial news without getting a headache, mastering these terms gives you a massive advantage. Let's explore why some of these words are actually quite confusing.
Sure.
Let's start with a foundational one. Operating system. Now, traditionally, if you say operating system to someone, they immediately think of Microsoft Windows or Mac OS on their laptop. But how has that term evolved in this new enterprise business context?
It's a really great point about the evolution of the term. In traditional computing, an operating system is the base layer that manages the hardware and software.
Right.
But in modern business English, an operating system is the foundational platform that manages all the core data, processes, and interactions of an entire company. It acts as the central nervous system for the business itself, not just a single computer.
I love that visualization, the central nervous system of the business. Okay, let's look at the financial side again. We talked heavily about disaggregated revenue. Now, the root of that word, aggregate, means to gather things together into a whole.
Exactly. So when you add the prefix dissect, you are doing the reverse.
Yeah.
You are actively pulling the whole apart into its individual components.
Makes sense.
So disaggregated revenue is the act of breaking a total revenue number into highly specific categories, like separating out AI sales from traditional software sales, so investors can see exactly where the growth is coming from.
And the growth they want to see is ARR, right? Annual recurring revenue. But why does Wall Street obsess over that specific phrase rather than just saying total sales?
Because of the word recurring. Annual recurring revenue is the predictable, contracted amount of money a company expects to receive from its subscription customers over the course of 12 months.
Ah, okay.
It is guaranteed baseline income. Unlike a one-off software sale that might, never happen again, it proves the product has sustained value.
That makes total sense. Predictability is everything for them.
Exactly.
Let's move back to the tech side.
Yeah.
The control plane. The word plane here can really throw people off. We aren't talking about an airplane. We are talking about a plane in the geometric sense, like a flat foundational surface or layer.
Exactly right. It's a layer of the system architecture. A control plane is the centralized management layer of software that monitors, secures, and directs the behavior of AI agents across an entire organization.
Right.
It is the layer where governance and rules are enforced.
It's the security checkpoint. And finally, the ultimate goal that Salesforce is betting the company on: the Agentic Enterprise. Agentic is essentially a brand new corporate buzzword acting as the adjective form of agent.
It is, yeah. An agentic enterprise is an organization where AI does not just passively assist humans when prompted, but it autonomously plans and executes complex workflows, acting as active, independent agents within the business structure.
Thank you so much for taking the time to break those down. I really appreciate how clarifying the origins and evolution of these terms unlocks a much better understanding of the whole tech industry.
My pleasure.
Because when you really grasp these concepts, you realize that an earnings report isn't just a dry math exercise. It's actually a window into the evolution of how humans and machines are going to interact in the workplace.
That's a perfect way to look at it. You're basically looking at the financial footprint of a technological revolution.
Okay, we have covered a tremendous amount of ground today. From the nuances of disaggregated revenue to the mechanics of headless platforms intercepting API calls. When I look back at all the sources and notes we've explored, a few key themes really stand out.
Definitely.
Let's distill this entire conversation into 3 memorable takeaways for you listening, something you can literally carry into your next meeting.
Well, if I'm looking at the core financial lesson here, it's that strong earnings reports aren't just about the math. They are a platform narrative positioning exercise.
Right.
When a massive company intentionally endures the pain of changing how it reports its revenue categories, it is sending a loud signal to investors about its future identity and strategic pivot.
Absolutely. And building on that, my major takeaway is about how they are proving that new identity.
Yeah.
By actively tracking agentic work units and breaking out the ARR, the annual recurring revenue of their AI products, Salesforce is proving that recurring AI usage matters far more to the market than hype.
100%.
Wall Street is exhausted by viral tech demos. They are demanding to see AI products that generate consistent, trackable business execution.
And that leads perfectly to the technological takeaway.
Yeah.
The future of enterprise AI relies entirely on governance, orchestration, and headless platforms living natively inside everyday workflows.
Right, not on the side.
Exactly. The winning enterprise strategy is not building a standalone app that a human has to open. It is building an AI that securely executes work seamlessly across the tools you already use, strictly governed by a central control plane.
Those insights really capture the essence of what is happening beneath the surface of this Q1 FY 2027 report. We've essentially watched a company try to rewrite its own DNA in real time.
We really have.
But as always on this deep dive, we don't just want to leave you with the facts and definitions. We want to leave you with something to chew on, a bigger question to ponder on your own.
And this raises a deeply important, almost philosophical question. if we connect all this technology to the broader picture of society?
Ooh, I like where this is going.
Well, we noted that the enterprise software industry is transitioning away from selling user seats for humans and moving toward selling work units executed by AI agents.
Right.
If that is true, and it certainly seems to be, how will this change the fundamental operating system of the human workforce in the next 5 years?
Wow.
Because if the headless AI is entirely handling the workflow execution, what becomes the primary day-to-day function of the human employee?
That is the multi-trillion-dollar question right there. If the AI is doing all the executing, do we just become full-time editors? Do humans essentially just become the biological governance layer, sitting at the control plane and clicking approve or deny all day?
Or, on a more optimistic note, do we finally get to focus entirely on deep strategy, creativity, and human empathy, leaving all the tedious execution to the software agents?
It is a fascinating and, slightly intimidating shift to imagine, but we really want to know what you think. Let's circle back to that opening idea of stepping out of the murky waters of AI hype and looking at the clean, hard reality of the enterprise world.
Right.
Do you think traditional legacy businesses are actually ready to hand over their workflow execution to an agentic enterprise? Or is the need for strict human governance and oversight still just too high to trust the machines? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below.